Hello, it's Researching Your Roots again. Creating a video, I will be showing you how to find the parents of two people that I worked on in the previous video. And also, I'm just going to find the parents of one of these two people at this time. So we're going to go to my Roots Magic, which happens to be a pedigree and family group sheet program created by a company. And I purchased this. It's about $25. You can get your own. There may even be free versions out online. I don't know, but this is where I keep my information. Some people put them in paper pedigree charts that look like this. Some people also have what are called family group sheets. For this particular individual, Sarah Stover, we don't have any more information. We don't know who her parents are. We do know who her husband and child is. But that's all we have. So we have a long way to go. We need to find her parents and grandparents and all that if we want to continue going back with her line. Then we have Ben Franklin Irvin. We'll go to his pedigree chart. Notice he's in the same situation. We don't have in our pedigree chart here any more information but that. Then we have Jesse William, who's their son. So I think I'm going to take Sarah Stover and try to find her parents first. I'm going to go to a document I have some information on her in. It says here at the bottom of this particular print screen that I have that her parents may be John Stover and Mary Melissa Mayberry. That's probably correct, but what do we always do? Any information we find, we want to make sure it's correct, okay? The best thing to do is she was born in 1874, and so we do have an 1880 census in the United States for most of the states and territories at that time. There is no 1890 census, but there is a 1900 census, and that would make her 26 years of age in 1900. She's probably married at that time. But we have the 1880 census where she would have been about 5 or 6 years old, probably 5.5, because census is usually taken at the beginning or middle of the year. So what we want to do is we want to look for a Sarah, Rachel, or Jane, or all three of these names, or some combination of them, with Stover, where a father's name is John, and a mother is either Mary Melissa, or Mary by itself, or Melissa by itself. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So we're taking this information that I found previously in another video that we did together, and I already know Sarah's information. Now I have a hint here that her parents may be John and Mary. So we're going to go back to Ancestry.com, and I'm going to put in Sarah, Jane, and I can't remember the other middle name. I always have this problem. What was it, Rachel? Yeah. So we're going to go back to this and put Rachel in the middle, Rachel. Then we'll put Stover. She's born in 1874. And before I told you, this is a place where they might have lived. So if I want to put her actual birthplace, and I know where that was, I click on that show more options. So all this information comes up, and I have a location for the actual birth place. And so it'll look for birthplaces, not just anywhere she may have lived. Okay? Let me go back and find the birthplace, Arkansas, USA. So I just put ARK in, and usually that brings it up. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on female, which you've probably already seen me do in other videos. And basically what I'm looking for is her as Sarah Stover or Rachel Stover or Jane or any combination of these three names, okay? Previously, we could only find like Sarah R or Sarah J, so I may have to cut out some of this information after I click on this to help me connect her to some parents. I'm looking, like I said, for the 1880 U.S. Census in Arkansas, probably. I mean, that doesn't mean they were in Arkansas, but that's where we're starting. And it's searching after I click a search button. And very interesting, we have here at the top an 1880 United States federal census, and it shows that the residence was in Illinois, Washington, Arkansas. So that's really interesting. We have a city named Illinois, a county named Washington, and a state, Arkansas. That's very interesting. But we do have a Sarah Stover, who was born in 1874 in Arkansas. So I'm going to open that and see if the parents are John. And it says she was 6, single, and there's a John. And we have a Melissa Stover. So we see that she's not using her name Mary here. We're going to go back to the Word document where we have information on Sarah's find a grave with her gravestone picture and the information. So whoever put this picture on here had the stone information and some other information, or they put this information in and then somebody put the picture in. But at the bottom, somebody had written John Stover and Mary Melissa Mayberry were her parents. Well, it looks like at least we found that this is probably correct. So going back to the 1880 census, and this is really good because the 1890 census doesn't exist. So hopefully this is correct. I'm going to save it in my shoebox. If you don't know what the shoebox is, that's just basically an electronic place to store information that you find on Ancestry. We have a Sarah Stover married down here in Arkansas. I'm going to click on that. This says B.F. Swan. Okay. I have a Benjamin Franklin Irvin. So I guess you could accidentally read Irvin as Swan. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and just presume they misread the last name because all kinds of Irvins are popping up here. So, and not Swans. Unfortunately, we don't have an actual copy of the actual marriage license or marriage certificate here. It says there's no image available. So we just have whatever people read. Some person read that document that it was probably previously handwritten, and they looked at that document probably from a microfiche or a photograph or something, or a microfilm, and they thought the last name was spelled B.F. Swan. I'm thinking this is Benjamin Franklin Irvin, and somehow they read, I'm seeing a V-A-N, but I can see an R-V misread as a W. And some I's are written in a way that look like L's or S's, so it's possible. I'm pretty sure this is probably B.F. B.F. Irvin. This says that they were married on the 16th of August, 1891. And if we go up here, we have the 11th of August, 1891. So that information came from the family group information we had earlier. I'm pretty sure that's going to be B.F. Irvin if we could see the actual record. Okay, 1900 census. We're going to see a husband named Frank B. Irvin. We looked at this document already. We opened the census record last time I did a video on them, and it was IRVAN. It's just sometimes I's are written in a way that are kind of hard to tell what exactly the letter is, and we won't go over that again. So I'm pretty sure that marriage record is the person we're looking at here. So that's connected to the 1880 census we opened. So we're probably certain that, probably 90+% that John and Melissa are actually her parents. Okay, so what I'm going to do is open the census here so we can see the image. And like I mentioned before, this is a microfilm. So it was taken on special film that is microscopic and has to be put on a special reader to blow it up so you can see it. This has been scanned or digitized, so I'm going to try to find it on here. And the green and yellow area is highlighted to show us where the Stover family is. I'm going to make this a little bigger for you. We have John Stover and make it a little bigger. It looks like Malissa, and that may be a misspelling of Melissa. It's usually spelled Melissa, and that's fine. They have a Levi Mayberry here, and he's the brother-in-law to John Stover. And that means that Melissa would be his sister, and he would be her brother. Mayberry is what we saw on this document here, Mary Melissa Mayberry. So I'm getting closer to 100% certain that these are the actual parents to Sarah Stover, wife to Benjamin Franklin Irvin. So I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to go ahead and keep this information, and I'm going to copy and paste it. First, I'm going to copy it where it's real big and I can see it easily. I'm going to go to the bottom of this document, and I'm going to paste that in and save it. Now I'll go and I will make this where we can see where they were born, the states they were born in, the countries. I guess it's just got states on this one. So we're going to go ahead and make that just a wee bit smaller so that we can get more information in here. And that gives us place of birth. This is the place of birth of the person that's written here. These are the parents, birthplace of father and then mother generally. I'm going to copy and paste that into my document. And that helps me find and make sure that the parents we thought were her parents are actually her parents. But I'm still not 100% certain. So I'm going to go back to Sarah Stover's information here. And here we have a public member story about a Sarah Rachel Jane Stover. So I'm going to open that up and see if it's really public. A lot of times these aren't really public, or they were, and they change them to private. And this just gives us Find a Grave information. So they've gotten this information from Find a Grave, and we already have that information. So go backwards. This is probably the same thing or another family tree that's in Ancestry. We have some more information here. Just looking at some other possibilities. And none of this matches what we're looking for. These are different states. So I'm going to go to this gravestone here. Open this up. Let's see what I have a picture of in here. Sarah Stover Irvin. That's the picture I have here. That's interesting. So this is probably a different person, or I'm not sure. I can't really see it very well. Let's try to make it a bit bigger here. B.F. Irvin. That's interesting. Maybe this is the original gravestone. And that newer one that we have a picture of already in our document is maybe a new one that was put there so you could read it easier. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the image and put that into my document, see what it looks like. All right. And that's the biggest I can get it without stretching it out a bit. Okay, what's going on here? Stretch it. It's very interesting. There we go. That's really kind of weird looking, actually. It almost looks like it's been photoshopped or something, perhaps. I don't even know if this is a reliable image. I see some pixelation up here. There's the S way down here and A down here. This looks kind of strange. This may just be like maybe when they were taking the picture, they kind of moved. Or this could be something that somebody's photoshopped. So I'm just going to leave it on here. I don't know why people do this. Sometimes they do create their own information on a gravestone. I don't know why they do this, but it happens sometimes. I'm just going to save it. This says State of Arkansas Certificate of Death. See if I can make it a little bigger here. This is Sarah Rachel Irvan, IRVAN. Name of Father John, Melissa something Berry, Mayberry, Mabury. James Irvin, Irvin. Well, we know that's not correct. This looks more like an A up here, but I'm not sure. This may very well be her death certificate, but at this point, I'm not going to save it. I have all this other information already, so let me looking at whatever they have. Okay, this is interesting. At the top of this page, we have an old gravestone here, and then we have this newer one here. So that's real interesting. So it could be that whatever is on the old stone, the one that we copied and pasted last, they've gone and put this on here to help you read it easier, I guess. And then over here on the side, it says new headstone added to grave in 2012. That's real nice. So this is probably pretty reliable information. So I'm thinking that John and Mary Melissa are her parents. I'm pretty convinced of that. And it looks like the only we're going to find her on with her parents is going to be this 1881 because we don't have an 1890 census for very much of any of the United States that's left. It was destroyed. I can't remember how, but all right. So we're going to go ahead and at this point accept that her parents are John and Mary Melissa. All right. I'm going to open this up and go to Sarah R. J. Stover. Click on the mother's parents, starting with the dad. And we have John. Click this because he's not living anymore. We're going to go to the information we have on him in the census up here, where it's a little bit bigger. It says he was 32 in 1880. So if we subtract 32 from 1880, we get 58. No, 48. So 1848, he was born. I believe it said Texas. So we'll go down to the smaller image and we have Texas. So he was born 1848, Texas. And that's the basic information we need to get his work done. And we'll put Texas, United States. And that's good enough for now. We know he's dead because he was born nearly 200 years ago. About 872 years ago. 172 years, sorry. Okay, now we're going to click on the mommy. And she's Mary Melissa. Mary. And I'm going to spell her name like that, the M-A, because I see two documents where that's where it's spelled. The spelling isn't so critical unless it changes the actual name. And an E or an A really doesn't change the sound or anything. So Mayberry. This is probably the more correct spelling. The one in the death certificate for the daughter, Sarah Rachel, was spelled Mabury. That's probably not correct. I mean, and we could find out later that that is, and then we'll just change it. Okay, let's go to the actual census, and we see that I can't really see that very well, so I'm going to go up to the bigger image. That looks like 26, so she's about 6 years younger than John. If that's correct, we'll subtract 26 from 1880, and that gives us 54. So she would have been born in 1854, and that makes sense because 48 and 6 is 54. 1854, but I think she may have been born in a different state. We'll go to this other image of the U.S. Census. We see she was born in ARK, which is Arkansas. 1854, Arkansas. United States of America. America. I can't say it like George W. Bush. All right, now, of course, we're going to want to have death dates eventually, but at this point, at least we have who her parents are. We're pretty close to 100% certain these are her actual parents, and they are deceased. Let me double check, make sure I clicked that. Yeah. So they're not living. So at this point, this is how we got the parents of Sarah R.J. Stover, which is kind of repetitious of what we did previously because we were working on her son, Jesse William Irvin, and we found these two people, her parents. We went through that. And once again, I repeated how to find parents of a child. And that's this video. I'm trying to do shorter videos and review information that we've already discussed. And I hope that this has been helpful to you in finding the parents of a child by using census and other information. Thank you for coming to Researching Your Roots, and have a nice evening.